Now, a day at the races at Royal Ascot is pretty serious business when it comes to dressing up, that is. But it seems like organisers are beginning to relax their strict formal dress code. They'll now be allowing women to wear jumpsuits in the royal enclosure. So is the move about being more inclusive, or are dress codes outdated? Well, joining us live to discuss that further is author and etiquette expert Liz Brewer, who's in Verbier in Switzerland, and in our central London studio we have the comedian Kate Smurthwaite. Both thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. And the much-awaited Royal Ascot Style Guide of 2017 is out, and jumpsuits are in. Liz, what's the problem with that?
A problem? Suddenly, out of the blue, after all these years of having a very, very stringent dress code, we have this jumpsuits. Not only jumpsuits are allowed, jumpsuits welcome. Up until now, I've had guests at my lunch party, right up until last year, Ivanka Trump, Shirley Bassey. And they have literally had to go and buy shawls to cover their shoulders, to buy a petticoat to cover their knees. Suddenly, we're allowed onesies. And make no mistake, a jumpsuit is a onesie. And I think, what a shame. You know, what Britain has, tradition. We have this wonderful pomp and ceremony. We have occasions when you can dress up. Women love to dress up. Why do we have to reduce ourselves to onesies or jumpsuits?
Petticoat, gosh, I haven't worn one of those since I was about 8 years old. But yes, Kate, you're more or less going to be wearing a onesie, according to Liz. Is that what you think? If women have to go into Royal Ascot wearing jumpsuits now, they're now really bringing the tone down, essentially.
I find it really, really, really strange. First of all, it's interesting that Liz suggests, well, this is tradition, this is what we've always done. But of course, do it the traditional way, the men would have to wear cod pieces, the women would be there in crinolines. The truth is that things move on, and actually Royal Ascot is way behind the times. I don't want to brag, but I have owned a jumpsuit for several years now. I sit, and they've said, oh, we've introduced this because, we want to stay ahead of fashion. Bad news, Ascot, you've been overtaken by a very scruffy comedian. I don't think they're really what they're doing is actually sort of backpedaling, sort of trying to catch up with the times. And the truth is, Liz makes another point. She says women like to dress up. Well, I think there's a little extra word we're missing there, which is some women like to dress up. Yes, some people love dressing up. Some people find it an awful pain and would rather not. And I think that actually in 2017, the next thing that Ascot need to do is they need to get rid of this high heels business, because a lot of us, if you've got problems with your feet, problems with your knees, high heels are incredibly uncomfortable. It's fine to wear them if you want to. It's fine to say they're welcome. It's fine to even say they're encouraged. But to make them compulsory, that's clearly not fair. And I think in 2017, the idea of having one dress code for men and one for women, let's just say, hey, everybody dress smartly. Sure, it's your party and you can throw down the rules. But I don't think that that this kind of detailed, this is how long your skirt must be in millimetres and your hat has to be at least this high by this high. I mean, I think that's sort of smacks of a very Victorian attitude that isn't really applicable to 2017. Let's just go and enjoy a day at the races if we do, or indeed, show up and protest about the treatment of the horses, which I think is much more likely to be what I might do. But this idea of women have to look a certain way so the cameras can be pointed at them and can be more palatable to the eyes of all the important male dignitaries there, well, what a load of outdated nonsense.
Well, Liz, I think Kate certainly told you her views. As far as this style guide goes, it doesn't go far enough. It's outdated. It needs to completely change. It needs to be rewritten.
Yeah, well, if I can get a word in there. Kate, I'd love you to come to my lovely Ascot lunch. And I'm sure you look great in a onesie. But let's keep some of these wonderful occasions when women can actually dress up. And why? You talk about cod pieces and crinolines. They didn't have Royal Ascot in those days. Royal Ascot is one of our great occasions. What Britain has, and this is one of our great selling points, and we earn a huge amount of money, is these traditional wonderful events. We have Wimbledon, we have Ascot, we have Henley, and it gives women an occasion to dress up, and there are dress codes, and what a good idea. How wonderful. People come to our country because they know we honor those sort of traditions, and we actually not only know how to behave at such occasions, we also know how to dress. move on. I understand this is 2017, but I am sad that suddenly what used to be a wonderful, glamorous, dressy occasion is now reduced to having to have a dress code welcoming jumpsuits. I think that's very sad.
Well, Liz, there are some actually very lovely jumpsuits, very glamorous jumpsuits outside of that casual onesie you keep referring to.
I agree. There are. Now, let's hope that is what the women are going to wear. And they're not going to take advantage of this rather sort of, it's a shady description, jumpsuit. Let's hope that they do add glamour to these onesies. If they do that, I have no problem. But what I'm trying to emphasize is the fact that we have had years and years and years. I have been going for 30 years. I've given parties at Ascot for 30 years. And they have been so stringent with these dress codes, which is why I said I had to take Ivanka Trump to buy something to cover her shoulders. My own daughter had to go and buy a ghastly lace petticoat because, heaven forbid, she was showing her knees. Ivana Trump refuses to go to Ascot because she's not allowed to wear a skirt above her knees. Suddenly, out of the blue, this is all thrown aside and we're allowed a jumpsuit. I mean, there might have been a happy medium. There might have been asking those members of the royal enclosure, do you agree with this? It seems it's sort of fait accompli.
So, Kate, dress codes, you might not like them, you might not agree with them, but it is essentially British. It's what people love about the Brits, what people come here for to be a part of. Even Donald Trump himself, he wants to come here to be a part of traditional British values. What's wrong with that?
Well, what's wrong with Donald Trump coming here? I don't think we've got time enough in the debate for me to get started.
What's wrong with good old dress codes?
But it's interesting because, Liz says exactly this. She says that let's have these occasions when people can dress up and all this kind of thing. And I absolutely agree. But if we're saying people want to dress up and we want an occasion when they can, we don't have to put a dress code in for that. We say this is Royal Ascot, and if you want to dress up, hey, great. But I think to then turn around to somebody, and let's remember that for some people, the choice of what they wear, yes, is very much a fashion choice. And for other people, some people feel very self-conscious in certain styles of clothing. Some people, have issues around their body image. Some people have issues around their identity, this kind of stuff. Let's say this is an opportunity where you can dress up, and all of those people who want to dress up can. And if there's one or two people who go, you know what, I used to like to dress up, but actually, since I've been through some, personal experiences or whatever has happened in my life, I no longer feel that way. I want to wear something a little dressed down or a little more comfortable, or something that doesn't dig into my knees and dig into my waist and all this kind of stuff. Well, that's an option too. And then we're open to everyone, and the option to dress up is there. And I love this idea that someone might wear a onesie. I don't know if anyone were brave enough to do so. But of course, the word jumpsuit comes from, it's a parachuting term. So, perhaps that really is an opportunity to get the proper full-on patches and literally drop into Ascot.
Ladies, I just want one promise, really. Liz, next time you're on, I want you to try wearing a onesie. Kate, if we can get you in a petticoat, I think we'll be closer to world harmony.
I wouldn't know which way to put it on.
Both, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you. One thing, you don't have to be in the royal enclosure. You can be at Ascot.
You hear that,
not in the royal enclosure.
You can go into the Ascot itself. Liz, thank you very much. Colin, would you wear onesie?
I'm going to move on to the next story now. Here we go. The cost of protecting Donald Trump. There we go, Donald Trump again. And the first family